Okay, so this morning we're going to look at the 4 operations that we learnt in Year 7 using positive and negative numbers. So we're looking at them with directed numbers. We've got, in addition, you've got 4 different ways that you might be asked to do something. You've got to add 2 positive numbers together, add a negative number to a positive, add a positive number to a negative number, and then add 2 negative numbers together. And the same in subtraction, multiplication and division. So we'll start with addition. Okay, now some of these have an absolute answer. I can tell you that the answer will always be positive or the answer will always be negative. For some of them though, it depends on the size of the relative numbers that you're dealing with. So we'll look at those in a little bit more detail. So if you've got a positive number and you're adding another positive number to it, what is your answer going to be? Brilliant. Positive. It's definitely going to be positive, okay? So the plus sign in the VE means positive, okay? So if we look at an example of that, 6 plus 6 is 12, okay? The next one, if you've got a positive number and you're adding a negative number to it, what's going to happen then? What do we call these? Adjacent signs. Well done. They're adjacent signs. That means they're next to each other. So what happens when you've got a positive and a negative sign next to each other? What do we do? Jack?
Well, the subtraction crosses out the addition.
Yeah, the subtraction is dominant over the addition, so we literally cross out the addition sign, okay? So when you've got a positive and a negative next to each other, the negative sign is dominant and the positive sign goes. So if we've got an example here of, let's put an example underneath. So let's call this A, B, C, and D. So let's look at an example for B. We don't really need an example for A, do we? Because we all know that 2 positive numbers make a positive. But let's imagine that we've got 7 add negative 3. Or we've got 7 add negative 13. Okay. What is the difference going to be? Hannah?
Because on the second question it's got like the number that you're subtracting is like bigger than the first number, it's going to be negative.
Good girl, well done. So here, obviously, adjacent signs, you cross out the 2 additions because they go because the negative's dominant. Here we're left with 7 take 3, which is 4. And here we're left with 7 take 13, which is negative 6. So for B, the answer could be positive or could be negative, and it depends on the relative size of the numbers that you're dealing with. Okay, let's have a look at C then. We've got negative add positive. Now again, this depends on the size of the numbers. So let's have a look at an example. We've got C. We've got negative 4 add 6. Negative 4 add 2. So if you've got negative 4 add 6, what's my answer? Jonah? 2. And then if you've got negative 4 add 2, what's my answer? Tommy? Negative 2, that's right. So again, whether the answer is positive or negative is dependent on the size of the numbers. So again here, this could be positive or it could be negative. Okay, let's have a look at D. We've got a negative number, add another negative number. So again, what do we have here? Jack? Adjacent signs. And what do we do when we have a positive and a negative adjacent signs together? Yep, the positive goes. So now we've got a negative number, take away a number. So say we've got negative 7 and we're taking away 7, we're adding another negative 7, it becomes takeaway, doesn't it? So what's my answer? Yeah. Negative, yeah. My answer has to be negative, okay? So if you've got a negative number and you're adding another negative number to it, your answer is going to be more negative. Everyone with me so far? Excellent, okay. Is this ringing bells from last year now? Good, okay. I ought to buy a little bell and sort of ring it. Ringing the bell? Okay, take away then. We've got a positive, take away a positive. Talk to me about that. Jackson.
They have adjacent signs, so negative or positive.
Well, this one is just telling you what the number is, that whether the number's positive or negative. So say we've got 6 take 5, okay? Or 6 take 22. So tell me about this, Isabella.
It could be both, because it depends on how big the number
Good girl, that's right. It could be either. So it could be, your answer could be positive or your answer could be negative, depending again on the size of the numbers. So if you've got positive 6 and you're taking away positive 8, you're going to end up at negative 2. But if you're at positive 6 and you're taking away positive 4, you're going to end up at positive 2, so it can vary. What about this one then? A positive take a negative. What can you tell me about this? What are they again? Every hand in the room should be up. Brianna? Adjacent signs, that's right. This time though, we've not got a positive and a negative, we've got 2 negatives. And what happens to 2 negatives when they are adjacent? Bryn?
Oh, they make a positive.
They make a positive, that's right, so they actually become a positive. So this time, you've got a positive, add a positive, and we know that that answer then has to be positive. So let's give an example. 30, take negative 10. So you've got 30, take negative 10. The take and the negative cancel each other out to become a positive, so my answer would be 40. Well done, positive 40. Okay, this one then. A negative number, take a positive number. So a negative number, subtract a positive number.
Negative?
It will be negative, yeah. Because if you're at negative 10 and you take away 8, you go further away from 0, don't you? If you're at negative 1 and you take away 8, you'd be at negative 9. And then the last one, a negative, take a negative.
It's adjacent signs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it becomes add.
This becomes add, that's right. But what could my answer be?
It could be both.
It could be both, depending on the number. So if you've got negative 6, take negative 2, it becomes negative 6 add 2, which is only negative 4, so it's still negative. If you've got negative 6, take negative 10, what would happen then?
You'd get positive 4.
Well done, you'd get positive 4. So this one could be positive or negative. Okay, now, they are the more complicated ones because they can vary. Your answer could be positive or negative in some of the examples. Multiplication and division, you'll be happy to know, it's much simpler, okay? Who can remember the rule from last year? Kalani?
If the symbols are the same, then it's a positive, and if they're like different, then it's a negative.
Very good. So, this is, you think of the rule like this. If the symbols are the same, you get a positive answer. If the symbols are different, you get a negative answer. Okay? So, that means then that these ones have the same symbol, so that is going to be a positive answer. These are different. They're different, so they are going to be negative answers. These are the same, so that's going to be a positive answer. And the same goes for division. So, symbols are the same, your answer's going to be positive. These two, your symbols are different, so your answers are going to be negative. These symbols are the same, so negative 40 divided by negative 10 is positive 4. Okay? So your answer's positive. Okay, do you want to press stop then? Value for me?